Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. Yesterday, after our second game in the 3-game set between Boston and Arizona, we're going back. Actually, no, yesterday was the second game of the 3-game set. I've been making so many videos lately, they're starting to run together a little bit. We're headed back to the Twilight Imperium universe today to play Twilight Inscription by Fantasy Flight. This game is a roll and write set in the Twilight Imperium universe, and our goal in this one is to beat our high score. So, we're playing a new faction today as usual, so let's go over and meet the new faction. Today we're playing the Arborec, who looks to be a bunch of plant people. Their special ability is Mitosis. When you choose your active sheet, either cross out one end resource on an unlocked planet on expansion, or deploy one infantry. Guild ship is Bioplasmosis. On expansion, unlock one planet and cross out a number of resource icons on it, equal to the number of planets you have unlocked. Let's take a look at their backstory. The Arborec are either a single harmonious plant being that fills an entire planet, or trillions of unique plant and fungal-based life forms, all united in a symbiotic consciousness. This unity, which they refer to as the Symphony, makes the distinction between individual Arborec beings largely meaningless. Beyond the reach of Nestfar's orbital spore clouds, the Arborec rely on their Latani, the largest organic sentient beings yet discovered in the galaxy. Each Latani forms the nexus of their own instance of the Symphony, and so is the closest thing the Arborec have to an individual consciousness. When the Symphony spreads to new worlds, forests of Arborec plants bloom around the Latani, integrating with the biosphere of the new planet and creating new harmonies in the Symphony. The Arborec have no concept of language. However, by using fungal cells to reanimate the dead tissue of humanoid species, the Arborec create the Derzuga, fungal colonies linked to the Symphony, inhabiting and rejuvenating a corpse. The Derzuga supposedly retain no trace of their former lives, but have the necessary neural pathways for language, and so make effective diplomats, as disturbing as the practice may be for some other species. So we've got giant plants. So we've got plant people that we're playing today. Wonderful. Next, we'll tip up toward the board, or tip up to our sheets and see whether we've got 4 sheets. I'll grab my laser pointer. We'll take a close look at each one of them. So we've got our navigation sheet, where here any lines are what we've explored. We'll circle anything that we claim, as you can see there. There's a quick look at the navigation sheet. I'm going to play on the B side. You could play on the A side as well, but I usually play on the B for solo modes. Then we've got expansion, which offers us our various planets and access to certain space docks. And remember, they're worried about the numbers of planets they have. Then we've got warfare, which is where we resolve wars against our neighbors, which in the solo mode the Automa opponent will serve as the neighbor for both sides of the conflict. And we've got industry, where there's a quick look at that sheet. Now, before we go too much further, I mentioned last night and in one of the product unboxings that you can actually do something of a play-along, video with this game. Basically, you'd have to have your own copy of Twilight Inscription to be able to do that. But what you would be able to do with that is you'd be able to basically take my events, your copy of the game, and play along with it. And see what your score ends up being based on the same solo scoring. So you might end up with a different score, and I'll be curious if you play along with this to see what your score is in the description down below. But you'll also be facing the same goals that I've got. First up for navigate, so each sheet will also have a unique goal on it. In our case, for this game, we'll be looking for Mercantilist. Our goal is to claim the Mechatol Rex system and both neighbor asset systems. 7 victory points if you claim it first, 4 points after that. What the neighbor asset systems do for you on navigation is they'll add 1 to the war on that side. So, coming back to navigation, say I claim the Say I claim this neighborhood, this neighbor asset system. On the war to the right, I would have a +1 attack strength, essentially, on that. That'll make more sense, and I'll try to explain that a little bit better when we get into our first war. Next up, we have Core Cracker for expansion. Once this decides to focus, we want to cross out all resource icons on 3 planets. Get 9 victory points if we do that first, 5 for doing it after that. Then on Warfare, our goal is Armada. The goal here is to build 6 non-infantry units. 7 victory points if you're the first to do it, 4 after that. And then on Industry, the goal here is maximum efficiency. Claim a contiguous group of 10 spaces. 9 victory points to do that first, 5 if you do that after it's already been claimed. Now let me explain a little bit about how the Mechatol Rex sheet works with the AI. So we'll be rolling the dice throughout the turn. For any single results, the AI will add to their strength either on votes or the warfare track. Then on their results on their rolls, they'll add to their respective tracks until eventually getting to the respective goals. This double N track gives them progress toward the navigation goal. This double box gives industry. Single green gives progress toward Mechatol Rex, then warfare. Then the double green gives access toward expansion. And then there are ways they can spend the additional icons after they've cleared those tracks. And then depending on what order you claim Mechatol Rex in, you'll get a number of victory points and a number of votes during council events based on that. And we'll explain more about how the council events work when we get one up. But I think that's everything set for this game, so let's jump in to our first turn. We'll bring each individual sheet and shot as we need them. Our first card, well, every turn we'll draw a card, and there's a reference on every card. So for the first card, we get Fledgling Empire. So this is a strategy event, which means you'll choose a sheet and spend the card's resources. So in this case, we have 2 boxes, and I'm probably going to go to navigation right away on that. Then the speaker will roll the dice, and then you'll spend the resources from the dice. The flavor text on here: Daniel smiled softly. A rare occurrence these days, to be sure. Glory to the Yin, my brothers. You have done us all proud. As I mentioned, I am going to go straight to navigation, where I'll get to spend I didn't mention this, but each sheet gives you specific ways to spend your dice. So on navigation, if you've got the N or the green resource, you explore an adjacent system, so you'll draw a line to it. On the box, which we have 2 of them on the card, we get to claim 2 systems. So in this case, I'm going to spend the 2 to claim this planetary asset, and I will say I don't like these markers. And the 2 victory points. Do I want the 2 victory points, or... Yes, I think I want the 2 victory points. So now we'll bring navigation out of shot for a second, and we'll focus our attention on the dice. The other thing I kind of don't like is these dice are just absolutely massive. I can't put them through my dice tower, which I really don't like, because I like being able to just shake them in my cup and then put them through the tower. So I'm bringing Mechatol Rex down because I'll need that in a minute. So we'll give this a roll and see what we get here. Okay, so the AI gets the 3 focus dice. On Mechatol Rex, or on the AI Mechatol Rex sheet, the double green will give them progress toward expansion, double blue will give them progress toward industry, and that N gives them further strength on conflict. We can bring that out of shot, and then I've got 2 then I've got 2 N's and a box. So I've got 2 explorers and a claim that I can make. Let's go explore, and then I'll claim another planetary asset. And that's a turn of Twilight Inscription. We'll bring navigation out of shot. Then we'll go for our next, that'll move to the discard pile. And we'll go for our next event. Next up, Echoes of the Past. So this time I think I'm going to move to... Oh, I should have also crossed out either an N resource on an unlocked planet after I chose my sheet or deployed an infantry. I will deploy an infantry on Warfare. So I'll bring that down and I'll deploy the infantry... I'm going to deploy it on this side. And then I can circle the 1 victory point because I've claimed that. Now I think I am going to go to expansion as my next sheet. So because I've chosen an active sheet, I'll deploy another infantry and I'll deploy it here on another victory point asset, going up to 2 strength on the left side. Which means I've got 1 of each of these, and I'm going to spend my planet. I'm going to spend my first. Actually, I'm going to spend both of my planetary assets that I captured on navigation. I will unlock. I'm going to unlock this hazardous planet and this industrial planet. Then I've got 1 of each resource to spend. I'll move that out of shot for a second. What do I want to do with that? I think with that, I'm going to go... Let's work on this industrial planet first. So I'm going to go... I'm just going to unlock this technology, or this rune asset outright. Actually, what asset is that? That's a specialty, so I can spend that. So that's a specialty resource that I can spend somewhere else to unlock a special effect. Now I'll bring the dice tower back in not the dice tower, the dice tray back in shot. I'll get Mechatol Rex ready, and then we'll roll the dice to see what the AI is doing. Okay. So those are the resources that the AI has, which means the blue die gives them another vote, the N gives them another strength on combat, and the green gives them progress toward Mechatol Rex. So I can get those, so I can move those out of the way, and then I've got 1 of each again to spend. So I think with that in mind, I'm going to... Let's go. I think we're going to work on this. Well, the green will definitely be going on this hazardous planet. This resource will be going on this hazardous planet. I think we're going to put it here toward a vote. Then we'll go. Let's go there and there. So we'll do that with those 2. Then we can get expansion out of shot. Mechatol Rex can go out of the way as well. And our last card for stage 1. First Ventures, and I forgot to go through the flavor text of Echoes of the Past. Harug gripped the straps of his pack tightly. Even in the blazing sun, he felt a chill run down his spine. The spirits of the dead roamed here. He could feel them. And taking a look at First Ventures, to be clear, Ty said flatly, you knew the ship had no weapons, no fuel, and faulty navigation when you purchased it. And yet, he gestured, here we are. I think we're going to go... That would be 3 scraps, which I could take that. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. I think we'll go over to industry next. Where I'll use the 3 N resources to scrap 3 spaces. Because that's what I can do on this card. You may claim spaces adjacent to at least 3 scrapped for free for AI development if I spend the red that I picked up on an expansion last turn. But I think I'll start off with scrap, 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 mostly so I can get to the guild ship and hopefully be able to use that. Because I'd love to be able to unlock another planet for free, and then be able to cross off 3 resources on it for free. But in order to see what we're doing there, we've got the dice tray right here with the dice. Let's see what we get out of this. Yep. And we'll re-roll that one. Okay. Alright, so for the AI, they get progress toward Mechatol Rex, another strength, and another vote. So we're definitely going to want to work on warfare a little bit this coming turn. But I've got another scrap and I've got 2 claims. One claim is going to go at the guild ship, most definitely. And I think I'm going to claim the green focus die so I can spend that somewhere to pay attention to it. As far as the guild ship goes, actually after I choose the active sheet, I'm doing a terrible job at remembering this. So after I choose industry, I can cross off an N resource on an active planet, which I think will be, or I can deploy an infantry, which might not be a terrible thing to do either, especially with, I think I'm going to deploy another infantry, so I'm going to deploy to there and get another victory point. That's on warfare that I did that. So now I've got another scrap and I've got another scrap. Where do I want to go with that? I think we're going to go scrapping here. And then I'm going to use the guild ship on so the guild ship will actually bring me back to expansion. So we can put industry up and that'll bring me down to expansion, where I can unlock a planet and cross off a number of resource icons on it equal to the number of planets I've unlocked. So I'm going to unlock I think I'm going to unlock this cultural planet, and then I get to cross off 3 resource icons on it because I have 3 planets unlocked. Let's go... Let's go 1, 2, 3. We'll do it like that and work toward another guild ship. And then that's it for that card. We'll be into our first Stage 2 card here in a minute. So first card in Stage 2. Relics Rediscovered. Zhuang was practically beaming with pleasure, though none would ever know it. Their research had borne fruit. The vault was precisely where it was thought to be. We've got a green that we can spend. That's going to be another Explore, which I think we'll take. We'll go to Navigation for that. And then I have to remember that since after I've chosen an active sheet, I can cross off an N resource, a pink resource on an unlocked planet on expansion, or deploy an infantry. And I think I'm going to deploy an infantry. So I'll put that there to gain another victory point. As for navigation, I've got an Explorer, which I'll take. I'll start working my way over toward Mechatol Rex. Now we need to roll the dice. And I also have an option that I can spend my green focus anywhere to be able to pay attention to that die. And I think I'm probably going to spend that on Warfare. Because Warfare is not a sheet I'm doing much with so far. And it's a sheet I probably need to be able to do more with. Okay, looks like we get more. They get more progress toward Mechatol Rex, another vote, and progress on navigation. Which means they're done with that. I get 2 more explorers and a claim, which I think will go. I think I'll go explore, and I will claim this neighbor asset system, so I can now add +1 to my right side war. We can bring the navigation out of shot. Did I remember to? No, I didn't remember to. Oh no, I did deploy an infantry for that. Yes. I only have 4 infantry deployed, and that's all I've done on warfare so far. Next card up. Convene the council. Claim 1 vote on industry for each unlocked +1 vote icon on your industry chart, then flip and vote on the Stage 2 agenda. The din of the council chamber faded as the speaker called for order. Today's session would be pivotal. The Calera's proclamation was to be signed into full effect. Kanaj smiled. A new chapter in his career would begin today. And since this is a council event, so this will work a little bit different. So Stage 2, depending on our first card, let me just refresh my memory because it's been a minute since I've played this. Okay, so during a council procedure, so we draw our first agenda and we tuck this so only the pass effect is visible, so we find population controls. On expansion, each player chooses 5 unclaimed victory point assets in the population track and crosses them out. They must still be claimed to access higher victory point assets, but they're worth 0. Okay, so we get that. And then we need one that doesn't have a dot in it, I believe. No, I think we want one that that does have a star in the fail effect, which this one does. On expansion, each player may cross out 1 resource icon on each space dock. So I forgot to claim my votes on industry. I will do that now. I only have the 1, unfortunately. So I get 3 votes. The AI is going to be casting a minimum of 2 votes. The question is this one worth throwing into? And I think the answer to that is you'll cross out a resource icon in each space dock. Could I get to the other planetary icons to be able to claim those? I'm probably going to prioritize getting to Rex. It looks like I'll pick up at least another planetary asset on the way. But I've got to get to that other neighbor asset system at some point as well. And they're throwing a minimum of 2 votes into this, plus a die roll. I think I'm just going to sit... yeah, I think I'm just going to sit tight on this one because expansion isn't that because losing 5 unclaimed assets on the population track isn't that catastrophic. So I can probably just cross off the higher ones because I won't be doing much with the population track so far, which means the AI will be casting a minimum of 2 plus another 1 vote. So they would have cast 3 total. So they're casting a total of 3 votes, which means I would have been outvoted anyway. So I cross out 5 unclaimed population assets. I'll just cross off the top 5. It just says 5 unclaimed, so I'm not going to worry about that, which means that can go away, and the Act 2 agendas can go back to the box. All right, our next card in Stage 2. A strong foundation. It's a strategy event. Captain Aguero's side. The work was not what he had expected, but it had to be done. There would be time for fighting later. What to do here? I think at this point I'll make infantry, or I'll make warfare my active sheet. Then I've got 2... I can also choose to either claim an N or deploy an infantry. I think in this case, I'm going to spend an N resource, spend a pink resource on one of the planets I have unlocked to cross off a pink resource on a planet I have unlocked. And I think I'm going to hit this cultural which will give me this guild ship. And then I'll move back to expansion for a second, which will let me cross off another planet and then give me 4 resources on it. So let's go for let's go for this cultural planet right here. So I'll go... Let's go... And I can cross off 4 resources on it because I now have 4 planets unlocked. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that'll give me this blue focus, or this blue specialty that I can spend on any sheet. I think I am also going to spend my green focus that I unlocked from industry to pay attention to the green focus die on the warfare sheet. That brings me back to the 2 resources that I've got here, which I'll spend to build a PDS. The personal defense system, I'm going to put that... Let's deploy that here. So I'll split some of its strength. I'll definitely get it into the next war. Alright, then I'll roll the dice. And remember, I do get to pay attention to the green focus die on warfare. Okay, so the double N gives them progress on navigation. The box gives them... Does the box help them on their next council event? I've always ruled that it does, but... Yeah, I don't know if it actually does or not. It might not until we get into stage 3. I'm going to rule that it doesn't, but I might be wrong on that. And that gives them progress toward Mechatol Rex, which is not good for me. So, the dice are done for the AI, which means I get to pull those 2 out, but I do get to pay attention to the green focus die here. Let's see. With those results, if I spend the... I thought I had a red relic that I picked up. I do. So if I want to, I could just build a dreadnought right now, which wouldn't be an all terrible idea. So yeah, I think I will. So I'll spend that asset to give me the ability to build a dreadnought, just to kind of explain what I'm talking about. Here's a specialty asset that you have to spend to build a dreadnought, and I will. Then I'll use these 3 dice to just build a dreadnought outright. Which means now I can deploy that, and I'll deploy it on... Let's deploy it in this war. Which also gives me access to my first population reserve, or my first population asset. And then as for the extra blue, I'll just work toward a PDS with that. And then before we go into the next turn, I need to take a small break. I might want to do a little more on the left side of my warfare sheet, just because I can pick up the green specialty and maybe start working on building war sons. But let's see what happens with our card here. We find border conflict, advance the deployment line, then resolve a war against each neighbor using the sections immediately below the deployment line. Now, Unlin, Evelyn smirked as she hailed the Viscount's heavy cruiser. Looking to bring history to life, are we? She gave the signal, and the Benthic's railguns whirred to life. So that will bring us to warfare, where we'll advance the deployment line, so now we can't deploy anything below that line. Then we total up our strength. We've got 3 strength. Basically, for any dot that we've got filled in by a unit, that counts as strength toward the war. So I'm 3 on both sides. Actually, I'm 3 on the left, 4 on the right, because if you remember on on navigation, I claimed the right neighbor asset system. So the neighbor to my right has +1 strength. Unfortunately, the AI has a strength of 5, so I lose both of those wars, which means I have to claim the -1 victory point assets on navigation or on warfare, which will actually cancel out 2 of the one victory point assets that I had when I deployed infantry there. So that's all done there. And our next card in stage 2, Toward a New Home. The cargo ships blasted out of the planet's gravity field. Their destination was weeks away, if not months. For all, it meant the promise of new life. For some, it would mean death. 3 ends. Where do I want to go with those? I think for those, we're going to go to navigation and do some serious exploration. Because I'm going to have to race them to Mechatol Rex. So I'll actually just take the 3 exploration here. 1, 2, 3. It has to be explore, explore, explore for me to get to Rex. And then I take another turn trying to claim Rex. But the dice need to cooperate with me on that. So also, since I'm being a derp, after I've chosen the sheet, I can either deploy an infantry on warfare, or I can either deploy an infantry or cross out a pink resource on an unlocked planet on expansion. And I think I'm going to spend a pink resource. I'm going to cross out a pink resource on a planet on expansion, which I'll cross off this one, and I'll unlock a counselor so you can see what I'm doing. I crossed that resource off to unlock this counselor, which will give me another vote during the next council event, which could be helpful. Anyway, now we roll the dice, and the AI gets their focus dice. Which, unfortunately, they are going to very much beat me to Mechatol Rex. But they don't get to do anything with the blue or pink dice. I'm probably wrong about that, and somebody can correct me in the comments below. But the AI will get to Mechatol Rex. The AI faction will keep me from getting the extra points for that. But I get 3 explorers, which will get me all the way to Rex. And that could very easily be my next objective next turn, depending on what the cards look like. But we can bring navigation out of shot and get into our next card. So our next card here. Redefine trade routes. We claim 1 trade good on industry for each unlocked +1 trade good icon on in your industry chart. Station Master, Kier said, fidgeting nervously. We can't just show up expecting cargo. These routes have been dead for centuries. Artuno smirked. See to it that they are reinstated, then. The Memoria will accompany you if necessary. The Nomad's coffers will be filled. We don't have any of the trade good icons unlocked on industry, which those are down here, which would give us access to trade goods over here. So that's it for that card. Now we're into stage 3. Next up, Border Defense. Connor radioed command. You're right. It was nearly impenetrable. Moments later, the shield pylons came crashing down, useless. I think we're going to go right back to navigation. That'll give us 2 claims. And then now that we've chosen our active sheet, we can either deploy an infantry or unlock a pink resource or cross out a pink resource on an unlocked expansion planet. And I think I'll cross off a pink resource to cross off this resource, and since all of them have been crossed off, I will get to claim the population resource there, which will send me up the population track. Let's see, then coming back down to navigation, I've got 2 claims, which I think will be another planetary asset. And I'll claim Mechatol Rex. which will give me 4 victory points and 2 more votes. Which I believe they get crossed off there, and they get marked there. If they immediately claim the number, okay, by circling the votes on their industry. Oh no, they don't get that. They don't get it there. They get the votes over here. Okay, so that was my 2 claims. That gives me 4 victory points for Rex. Now we need to figure out a way to get over to the left neighbor asset system. But let's see what the dice are telling us they're doing. The dice say that the AI is strengthening their votes and their military strength during this phase. They're also working toward warfare, which we need to get working on that as well. As for us, we get another claim and 2 more explorers, which I think we'll start with the exploring here and here. Then we'll claim another planetary asset, which I can use once again on expansion. That card can move out of the way. And our next card for stage 3, Partisan Maneuvering. Claim 1 vote on industry for each unlocked +1 vote icon in your industry chart, then flip and vote on the stage 3 agenda. The Titan stared silently as the other diplomats argued. These small creatures, always squabbling, always grasping for more. Her thoughts drifted to the UI, to home, and she sighed audibly. So that brings us to industry. We'll claim 2 more votes. Fortunately for us, the AI is largely not ready for this vote. So we need to flip over our agenda once more, this time for stage 3. So our first agenda this time is pass. On industry, each player may scrap any 2 spaces or claim 1, but the space or spaces must contain a commodity. And we want one with a star, or without a star. That has a star. This one doesn't. On navigation, each player crosses out 4 unclaimed systems that contain an asset. Those systems can be explored, but cannot be claimed. So I want to be able to, basically I want to be able to cast more votes so I get the beneficial effect. The AI is casting a minimum of its leftmost cross. Is it visible or leftmost crossed out? I think it's, yep, it's okay. It's rightmost crossed out. So the AI is going to be casting a minimum of 3 votes, a minimum of 2 votes. So if I throw 3 votes into this, I would make sure I can get industry and be able to claim a space there. So I think I will throw 4 votes into this. So I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the Autumn will be casting 2 plus a die roll. Let's see what they roll on a black die. That's only 1 vote. Actually, that's no votes, so I get the beneficial effect, where I can scrap 2 spaces or claim 1, but they have to be a commodity. I think I will claim this. I think I'll claim this blue asset on industry, this one right there, which will give me access to that resource. And then those can return to the stage 3 agendas can return to the box as well. And now I'm thinking I want to spend a little bit of time on warfare, so I can make sure that I'm ready for that. But let's see what the card gives us. Maximum yield. The harvest of Ordinian was so complete that even the planet's core was depleted. The Necro left nothing usable. Only its lifeless shell remained. Let's see, I've got 3 pink resources, which I could... Yeah, I think we're going to spend a little bit of time on warfare. I think we're going to go on to warfare. Now I can deploy an infantry. I can deploy an infantry or spend or unlock a or cross out a pink resource on an expansion planet, and I think I'll be deploying a pretty sizable unit on warfare. So I think I'll cross off a pink resource on an expansion planet that I have unlocked, and I think we'll make that this yeah, let's make it this resource down here. So I'm actually unlocking. So I'm spending this resource. Then as for the 3 pink on warfare, I think I am going to go ahead and build a cruiser. Now where am I going to put the cruiser? They're at 3 strength right now. Right now I'm at 4 on... Actually, I'm at 4 on both sides. So I think I'm going to deploy a cruiser right here. You're going to be able to get at a pink asset, a pink focus asset if I can, which will send me up the population chart a little bit more. Then we'll roll the dice. Remember, I get to pay attention to the green focus die because I have that focus unlocked. So let's see what the dice say they're doing. Okay, that's not terrible. So they get that progress toward navigation. Another vote. Oh no, we cross out the agenda because we just voted on that. And that blue die doesn't do anything for them on the single side until we get to the next stage of the deck. Unfortunately, the green die means they will beat us to the warfare goal, which is unfortunate, but nothing we can do about that. So we can move those 2 out. I get to pay attention to those 4 dice. I could build another dreadnought if I wanted to, and could I put it down anywhere that would be useful, though? Actually, yes, I could. So I'll go ahead and spend these 3 dice. Actually, could I get... Oh, yes, I could get to a dreadnought if I move that out of the way. So I can get those 3 to get there. And then I can put the dreadnought down. I'll put it down here. So its strength will be dividing between a few wars. But that's probably fine. So that gives me that. And then I'll finish out this PDS. And I'll put that one down. Getting ready for the next war is a thing I could start doing. Yeah, we'll get ready for the next war. I'll put that one down here, which will give me more access to the population track. So I'll cross off another one on expansion. And that's it for warfare. I should be able to win this next coming war handily on both sides. But let's see what happens here. Next card up. When diplomacy fails, advance the deployment line, then resolve a war against each neighbor using the sections immediately below the deployment line. The lead ship's sensors exploded in an array of alarms and damage alerts as an entire fleet poured forth from the wormhole, raining destruction upon the unsuspecting convoy. So that'll bring us back to warfare. We'll advance the deployment line. And now we check strength for every dot filled within the war. So on this side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the autonomous strength of 3. So I have 6, which gives me the guild ship reserve. We'll come back to that in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't forget I have the right neighbor asset. So 8, and that gives me the pink resource. So now the guild chip will bring us back to expansion. We can bring warfare out of shot. Then the guild chip will bring us back to expansion, which means I can cross off another planet and then cross off 5 resources because I have 5 planets unlocked. Let's go for this industrial planet, and crossing off 5 will give me 1, 2, 3. I'll unlock this blue specialty. 4, 5. We'll do it like that. Right, so then our next card, crossing off, I'm probably not going to get to Core Cracker, but we'll see. Next card up. Technological Frontier. Another jolt from the machine surged through Rin's limbs. It no longer bothered her. She was changing, not just mentally, but physically as well. A green asset. We'll head to navigation with that, and I can cross off another resource or deploy an infantry. They're starting at a base strength of 2 for the 4 side. Do I want to just start getting ready to deploy infantry? Or do I keep working on planets on expansion? I think I just keep working on planets on expansion. I'll plan on getting back over to warfare at some point. Which one do I want to cross off? I will cross off... I'm going to cross off this resource down here on expansion. As for the planet we're on, I'm going to explore this system. If I get Explore, Claim, I can go get the left neighbor asset system. They're nowhere close on navigation, but let's see what happens with the dice here. Okay, that won't really help them too much. We're still in stage 3, so those 2 dice don't do anything for them. The single green die that they rolled gives them double now, so they're working toward expansion. Well, we got Explore. So I think I'm set up. I think I'm going to be able to set myself up nicely for a couple of sizable claims with 3 exploration. So that'll work there. And we voted on the stage 3 agenda and had the stage 3 war. So we're heading into stage. Actually, we've got one last card in stage 3, which that last card, Bustling Economies, claim +1 trade good on industry for each unlocked +1 trade good icon in your industry chart. Karth breathed in the familiar air of the Silver Sands. Home. Were it that he never had to leave. One thing I haven't talked about is the trade goods. So we've got these trade goods down here. You can spend those for any resource of any type, or if you have them at the end of the game, you get 1 victory point for every 2. I'm not doing much with trade goods, which is why I really haven't been talking about them all that much. But before we get into our next turn, I need to take a small break. Our first card for stage 4. Rightful Claim. The brood swarmed around the planet, a single tendril-like formation made entirely of Norse ships. This planet would be home to a new generation of warriors. It's 2 blue, which I think would do me the best good on navigation, because that gives me 2 claims on the card, which is what I was looking for. So I also get to either deploy an infantry or unlock or cross off a pink resource on an expansion planet, and I think I'm going to actually deploy an infantry, which will deploy I'm going to deploy to this population asset right here. So I'll dot that in, circle it, and then that'll give me more assets on the population track. Then I've got 2 claims on navigation. I'll claim this neighbor asset system and this relic. So what this does is that'll give me access to a relic that I can use. So the relic that'll give me here, the Prophet's Tears. You may play this relic while any sheet is active. Pay 1 specialty asset cost on that sheet. At any time, you may spend 1 planetary asset to return this card to your hand. While I don't feel any different, Dart said, his eyes blazing with the fires of 1,000 dying worlds. What do you mean? Oh God, your eyes. And that gives me 4 victory points. It also gives me the objective of claiming both Mechatol Rex and both neighbor asset systems, so that gives me 7 victory points there, which means I'll turn that over, and now any subsequent player would get 4 from it. But we need to roll the dice and see what happens here. Okay, the blue is going to strengthen their next agenda vote. The double pink will give them progress toward navigation, which we've already claimed. And the single green will give them double green and access toward expansion. The reason it's giving them double green instead of single is on the Mechatol Rex sheet, they've already completed their single green track, and there's a reference on here that the single green gives them double when they roll it. Let's see, then that gives me, and moving that out of the way, gives me basically gives me 2 explorers and a claim. I think we'll go... Let's go 1, 2 explorers, and we'll claim a planetary asset. I'll probably start spending some of these to get additional focus dice assets so I can pay attention to extra focus dice. We can move that out of shot though, and we'll see what our next card is. Our next card up, the Limits of Diplomacy. Claim a vote on industry for each unlocked +1 vote icon in your industry chart, then flip and vote on the Stage 4 agenda. Zoo closed her eyes and listened to it for a moment as her guests gasped for air, collapsing one by one as the poison took them. Such is the beauty of the Nalu, she thought. So that'll bring us down to industry. I will claim 2 more votes. And then we'll flip and vote on the Stage 4 agenda. So first up here, Construction Moratorium. On expansion, each player crosses out all unclaimed assets on one planet. They must choose an unlocked planet that has at least 2 unclaimed assets if able. That's the pass. Then we want one with a star on it, which this one has. On industry, each player spends 1 free trade good for each +1 trade good icon they currently have unlocked. Each player crosses out all unclaimed assets on one planet. That could be bad. Spends 1 free trade good. I guess, do I dump all of my votes into this just to protect one of my planets? Now, there's an argument to be made. Actually, if I look for a planet that has several unclaimed counselor icons, yeah, I could probably deal with that, but since I don't think votes are worth anything at the end of the game, nope. I'm just going to dump all of my votes into this so I can protect my planets on expansions. That'll give me 5 votes. Then the Autumn is casting a minimum of 4 plus a die roll. So they're casting 4 votes. So I get away with 1 there, which means I can spend a free trade good for each +1 trade good icon they have unlocked, but I have none unlocked. So they won't be rolling on, we won't be voting on anything for the rest of the game, so I don't have to worry about that. That can get out of my way. The stage 4 stuff can go back to the box. Alright, we've still got stage 4's war event coming up, so I need to keep an eye on that. Next up we have Desperate Measures. There was no joy when the orders were received to Glass Ori Bay. It meant that the L1 had already done their worst. There was already nothing left to save. Alright, 3 pink icons would give me a cruiser, which is probably pretty good, especially since I want to do some work on warfare anyway. And now that I've chosen that, I can cross off a pink resource or deploy an infantry. I'm also going to spend I had a focus asset that I was going to be able to get to. Oh yes, it's the pink asset that I won in the last war. So I'll get to pay attention to the pink focus die here. And speaking of pink, I will actually go ahead and build another cruiser. And I will deploy that. Let's deploy that here. I'm going to deploy that over the top and get 1 victory point on the sheet. Now we have to roll the dice, and this time I get to pay attention to the green and pink focus dice. So let's see what happens here. Okay. The double pink gives them progress toward navigation. The blue doesn't do anything for them, and the green gives them progress toward expansion because they're getting double green off of that. I can get the blue die out of the way, but I will be paying attention to the pink and green focus dice. Question is, what do I want to do with those? I do have a blue asset, so I could deploy a PDS if I wanted to. And I think I do, so I will go ahead and spend the blue specialty asset on cultural. Actually, I've got 2 of those, but I'll use 1 to deploy a cruiser. Actually, no, I was going to use that for a PDS. Actually, I could probably just use both of them. I'll stick with using it for the cruiser. And I'll deploy the cruiser. Actually, how many non-infantry units will that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually got that a while ago. So I'm going to cross off. I'm going to add the 4 victory points. And we haven't had the warfare yet. They're not very strong right now, and I've got both neighbor asset systems. I'm going to deploy it right here. Let's see, coming back to the actual dice now. I want to be able to unlock I want to be able to get a green asset so I can start working on War Sons. Those are going to take a lot of rolls, though. Fortunately, I'm going to have a lot of dice to be able to throw at them. Well, once I get a green focus asset, I'll be able to do a lot more with that. Well, I can go ahead and build another dreadnought using those dice. So I think I will. And the dreadnought I'm going to put... I'm going to put that dreadnought here. So those dice are done. I get 2 pink, which I'll just use to deploy a couple of infantry. We'll get them ready for the next war. So we'll deploy 1 here and 1 here, which means I can circle those. Then we'll bring warfare out of shop. And we'll get into our next card. Our next card, Industrial Zeal. Claim 1 trade good on industry for each unlocked +1 trade good icon in your industry chart. 148S surveyed the new installation, taking note of several routines he already planned to improve upon. The new process has increased output by nearly 11%, and with a little work, he was sure the enhancers could increase efficiency by another 4%. Once again, I have no trade goods unlocked on industry, so we don't do anything there. Our next card here, Forbidden Knowledge. Ball watched on 1 by 1, actually it was probably Bale, watched on 1 by 1, as each of the settlements went offline. He was not some fool to be laughed at. Who was laughing now? So what sheet do I want to make active? I think I am going to make expansion active. Which I'll use to deploy to cross off an N resource for a special ability on the Arborec, and then green for the card resource to give me the green specialty, which will let me build War Suns. If I can find a way to get... Actually, I can find a way to get the blue focus die on Warfare. So I've got a couple of planetary... Actually, I've got 3 planetary assets, which I could use. I'll actually use all 3 planetary assets on navigation to just gain these space docks. You can pay those with either cost by the slash on them. It might be a little bit hard to see at this distance, but I will gain all 3 of those. I'm going to save the blue die for over on Warfare, but I am going to spend the green and pink assets to be able to pay attention to expansion. Or not the blue one, Phoenix. We want the blue one for Warfare. So that's all done there. And now I can pay for I can roll the dice and we'll see what happens. Okay, that blue die does nothing for the Automa. The pink gives them more strength on their stage 4 war, and the green gives them progress toward expansion. As for those dice, I think we will use the... Can we use the green die anywhere? We can. We'll put that... I'll put that here. Then we've got 4 pink. Let's go 1 to unlock more on the population track. I haven't been talking much about that, but the population track is over here to the right. We'll go 2 to gain more. 3, 4. Okay, and we do have our green asset now that we need to unlock the ability to build War Suns. So we can bring that out of shot, and then we'll draw our card. I'm expecting this to be our stage 4 war. And it is, divide and conquer. Advance to the deployment line, then resolve a war against each neighbor using the sections immediately below the deployment line. The warnings came too late for the Hylar. When an investigator from the universities arrived weeks later to survey the carnage, naught was left but smoldering craters. The Gashlai's message was clear. So we'll bring Warfare and Shot. We'll advance the deployment line once again. Then we'll calculate on War Strength. So the AI's got a strength of 4. And I'm pretty sure we're going to smoke them out on all of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because I have the left neighbor asset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yes, I will get the blue focus and the yellow specialty asset. I'll immediately spend the blue focus here to be able to pay attention to that on Warfare. And while I'm here, I'll spend the green asset so I can unlock the ability to build War Suns, which I'm going to want that most likely for... Actually, am I even going to be able to put a war sun down anywhere. I don't think I am now that I look at it. No, I kind of screwed myself a little bit with the... I kind of screwed myself a little bit there with the... with how I was deploying infantry earlier. So I think instead of spending the green asset there, is there somewhere else I could do better with it? Is there anything that would do me any good right now? Yeah, no, I can't even deploy... Now that I look at it, I can't even deploy the War Sun, even if I were to build it. So no, I'm not going to spend the green asset there. I guess I'll spend it on expansions for neural motivator. So when I make expansion active on each unlocked planet, I can cross off a pink or blue resource on each column that, an Aurora column that has a population asset. I expect I'll probably be making warfare active for most of the rest of the game though, because I want to be able to get ready for that last war. Anyway, heading into stage 5. Girded for war, speaking of which. Nothing beats the tireless determination of the Zcha. Even the L1Z1X begrudgingly acknowledge their almost supernatural perseverance. Okay, so I will go ahead and spend the 3 pink to build my last cruiser. I also get to deploy an infantry, which I think I will do. Unless I still have that blue reserve, that blue asset, so I'll be able to deploy another PDS as well. Did I get another red? Or can I get another red? I don't think I can. So I'm just going to worry about deploying a cruiser. I'll put one here, which will give me another victory point. And then I get to pay attention to all 6 dice. So we'll go ahead and give these a roll and see what the Automa gets to do. All right, that blue die does nothing for them. The double pink gives them navigation, which I already beat them to. And the green gives them double green toward expansion, so they beat me to expansion as well. Means I can only claim 5 points for that, but I get to pay attention to all 6 dice here, which will probably be deploying a mess of infantry, I think. Well, I do have the blue specialty asset to deploy a PDS. I'll deploy that. I'll deploy that on this side. So that's done. As for the rest of it, I don't think I can deploy... Nope, looks like it's just deploying a whole mess of infantry. So that'll be deploying a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 infantry. They're at a 4 strength. So how do I want to divide this? Actually, if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should work for me there. And then if I remember correctly, I think this card is the last war event of the game, but let's find out. A throne for the taking. Resolve a war against each neighbor using the final sections. Then score your sheets and determine the new ruler of the galaxy. Sufi Ann watched from a safe distance as the payload fell, the glow from the bombardment illuminating her cockpit. Eventually, it would become too dangerous to remain. But for now she would observe. All right, so the Automa has a strength of 4 into this. I'm pretty sure I beat them on both sides. Totaling up on the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Win on the left, which gives me 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Also gives me victory on the right for another 3 victory points. So that's it for the game. Now let's go into final scoring. Since we've got warfare right here, we'll score this first. So we'll gain victory points for everything we've got circled, and lose for the victory points there we have circled. So on here we gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6. So 26 on the sheet for a total of 30 points from warfare. For industry, we didn't do much of anything on industry, so we pick up a big fat goose egg there. Looking at expansion, we didn't get to expansion. We didn't get to our goal on expansion, but we got a pretty good ways up on the population track. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I wonder if those are supposed to come from the bottom, but the agenda didn't say. It just said pick the... Where is it? Where was it? Each expansion chooses 5 unclaimed assets in the population track and crosses them out. It doesn't say they have to come from the bottom, so that's why I did it that way. But once again, we didn't get to the objective. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 12 plus 0 gives me 12. One of the problems I'm having with these markers, and it's a minor detail, but it's something I'm noting, is they're so big and they make the mark so hard to read. Then coming over to navigation, we gain 7 plus 4 plus 8 for Mechatol Rex and a relic, which will give us a total of 15 points. Then we total all 3 sheets up. 27, 57, and there's a table on how this does. So we were playing on easy difficulty, and our score for solo two-handed 2-player rank, 57, we just missed Fledgling Domain. We're scoring as a footnote in galactic history. So that will actually do it for this playthrough of Twilight Inscription. We're going to have a few product unboxings today as well, I'm expecting. But as far as the gameplay on the channel, Roll and Write Day is going to continue later today, as we have a playthrough of Cartographers lined up, which will be a new game from Thunderworks Games, and then we'll have another playthrough of Welcome To. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.